everybody. Welcome back to the Hit.OR.DIE podcast. Here we are going solo again. I'm not at the Brickyard studio. I'm actually back where it all started, where we first did our first episode in my office. So kind of interesting. This is the first time, again, I've done this without Chad. The Rams play today, and he's actually welcoming in a new addition to the family tomorrow or today. This will be out Friday, so it'll be today. So congrats to Chad and his family and their new addition, their baby girl, who's not been confirmed as far as the name yet. So we'll have to wait and see what her name is. I'm excited, though, and I can't wait to meet her and excited for him and his family. But I want to say thank you to everybody that stayed with us. I know we've been off here and there, and it's been really spotty lately. And I was on vacation last week. This week had some things pop up where it's just been hard to get to it. And it's hard too with baseball being in swing with certain guests. A lot of people aren't available, but there are more things to come. I've got some guests I'm lining up, and can try to continue to get a little more consistent with it. But I appreciate everybody that stayed with it. I noticed some people going back and listening to old stuff, which is awesome. I love that. And again, just thank you to everybody that stays with it. I really appreciate it. I know Chad does as well. And, if you're not following the podcast, do so on Twitter at Hit.OR.DIE podcast, also on Instagram at Hit.OR.DIE. And please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe there if you're listening and not watching. Also got some great responses from the last episode. It was about 2 weeks ago with Marcus Walden. And it was a lot of fun just talking shop with him. And the guy's just got a different perspective from the big league side of it in his career and the work he's had to put in to get where he's at. I just really appreciate his story and where he's come from, and super humble guy. And we'll get into more about some of that stuff later and some of the things I noticed with him or just with guys like that. But coming back to finish the Easter Classic, I noticed some controversy, and I've seen it on social media lately with Central High baseball here in our local area, if you're not familiar with it. But Central High School and Clovis High School had a game, I believe it was the 6th of April, and it went under protest due to pitch count and something or other that I'm not sure all the details, but I'm going to have Nick Papagni join me here in a second, and we're going to kind of get into it and talk about, he knows more about the details and ins and outs of it than I do, so we'll kind of get into that a little bit. And just some stuff that I've been feeling lately. I don't want to come off as I'm complaining, as I tend to do sometimes. But just that, I don't know. I'm feeling in the Twilight Zone a little bit. So just stay with me on that. We're going to get into it with Nick here on this pitch count or pitch gate, as he's called it on social media. So hang on tight. I'm going to get Nick Papagni on the line, and we will get into the pitch gate. He's going to give me some more details on it. He's also talked about it on his show. So stick around. Hang on just a sec. We'll get Nick Papagni on the line. All right, everybody. We're back here. I got my good friend, Nick Papagni, and the host of the Pag Meter and the godfather of local sports. Nick, I come back from vacation and work's been nuts, and I'm kind of out of the know. And I see you post something you've declared now Pitchgate between Central High School and Clovis High back on, I believe, April 6th, you said was the date.
Yes, sir.
And I just wanted to see if you could round up some of the details for me.
So basically what happened April 6th, the track is playing, you're playing 3 games in a week. So the first game was at Central. Central won the game. Yes, it was, 7-4 final score. Then they're going to play the next day at Clovis. So no worries. The game's over. Shake the hands. I guess it's over. I mean, everyone goes, and then they're getting ready for game 2 at Clovis. And pitcher throws on Monday. Boom. And Tuesday, and then Wednesday he pitches again. And Clovis said, okay, he pitched yesterday, he threw over 30 pitches. This game's under protest. No one knew anything. No one said a word the day before. And that's where I have an issue with. To me, once the game is over, the game is over. And no one said a word. This whole scorebook thing is ridiculous. And my issue is, how in the world is the CIF involved with something like this? On Central said it was 28 pitches. Clovis said it was 32 pitches, and they get a forfeit out of the deal.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I guess is, so if the CIF ruled in Clovis High's favor, right? Clovis High brings the protest.
Yes.
CIF favored it to Clovis High.
And the question for me is, no one even looked at the home scorebook. No one even asked the home scorebook.
And the
even
home book was Central?
The home book is Central. That is the Bible of every high school game. That's the, if it, high school football wise, if you look at the scoreboard or whatever the case may be, the home team. And no one even asked the home team what they have. That's my issue right there. How come no one even asked the scorebook? Why didn't they compare books?
Yeah, and I remember this last year with Bullard and Memorial in the CMAC. It was a last week. It was at Bullard. There was an issue with pitch count. And I feel like, and we've talked about it on here, that JD Sales, the head coach at the time at Memorial, handled that the way it should have been. It was immediate. It was in the moment. He didn't wait for the game to end, win or lose. They noticed that they had a certain count. I guess when they checked it with Bullard, their count was different. And I don't remember the difference in pitches that they had, but I'm just talking about how it was addressed. It happened there in the moment as it was noticed. And I'm not sure when the coaches at Clovis figured it out. I don't know. Again, this is kind of news to me. I've been out of the loop for like a week and a half now, but I agree. I think, if this is April 6th, today's the 21st. Yeah.
And so, but last year I was at that game. JD actually came out and they went to the Bullard book. They protested, and the next day there was a ruling that they went to the Bullard scorebook, and that was it. End of story. Home. And if you're the visiting team, you have an issue, you need to go to the home scorebook and say, what do you have? This is what we have, and talk about it. No one talked to the home scorebook at Central. They looked at the scoreboard because we love Ace to death. He's the scorebook, but he can't do it all. He's doing music. He's doing a little bit of everything. And if you're counting pitches, you might miss or two. It is what it is. It's not the most exciting, glamorous score detail in high school sports. Okay, there's very few scoreboards that have it on the scoreboard. I don't understand why Clovis waited the next day, because they thought they had something under their book and their hat. They're like, okay, if he pitches, we're gonna call it. And then he pitched. He threw 8 pitches. But what kills me is Coach Morgan, the day before on April 6th, took his pitcher out at the 28 pitch mark, which they had, so he could pitch the following day. Why would he take him out in the 7th with 2 outs? He would have just let him finish if that was the case. I don't understand how the CIF, and I get Clovis is trying to go for a win and they're doing what they can, but why is the CIF getting involved with 2 pitches? This is going to change everything in high school, because now if you miss 1 or 2 pitches, you're going to forfeit.
Yeah, and I know at Madera, when we were there, we have the book in the dugout. And here's the thing, and I know this has been a rule. It's been in there for like the last 5 or 6 years. They've had pitch count stuff out there that you've got to follow. And we've never really gotten close. I think we've literally pitch counted a handful of guys since it's been out, and it's like not even a handful. Maybe we tend to not do that or did that, but the rule is that you're supposed to after a half inning or a full inning confirm pitch counts for each pitcher. Correct?
That's correct.
So I can tell you that's never happened. I've never seen it happen. And all the years that I've been doing it, or since it's been the thing, we've never done that ever. And I don't know how. So what do you do? Because I talked to, do the umpires force the coaches to meet? But the umpires don't want to take on more responsibility, is what you said.
I can't imagine. If umpires aren't getting paid enough, you want them to do pitch counts now. Now, if they get more money, hey, yeah, let's jump on it. But there's no way they're going to be able to, hey, Helen, can you come here with your book? What do you got, Stan? You've got 21, you got 20. Well, let's just call it even 21. So whatever the case would be, that would be great, but that's not going to happen.
No. I'm not even saying they control the pitch count. They just have the coaches, we, after every half inning or after every full inning, we just need to confirm pitch count. It's a simple process. Coaches, hey, we don't start the next inning until an umpire says, hey, you guys, did you confirm your pitch counts? Yeah. Okay, cool. We're done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple, really. Listen, I don't remember which coach it was. Okay. Last year in the semifinal game, we played at El Diamante. And it was what time where we ran our pitcher got up near the pitch count. And what happened was he got to a limit to where he finished a batter and gone one pitch over. So we had to pull him. But prior to that inning, the top half of the sixth, I think it was the bottom of the sixth, that top half, as we finished hitting, on my way back to the dugout, I asked the coach, hey, can I get our pitch count or your pitch count for our pitcher? Right? Your home book. If something were to be protested, if something were to come up, there any issue or discrepancy, we're going to your book. And he kind of looked at me and laughed like, no. And I was like, what? I go, but you're the home book. Like we want to make sure our numbers match, as if it were a competitive edge type thing. Again, I don't know if it was the pitching coach or which coach it was, but before the following inning, before we got to the bottom half, they confirmed our pitch count. They ended up doing it. But initially it was like, nah, dude, we don't do that here. Like it was helping us, or you know what I mean? Like they're trying to gain an advantage. You don't know how to count. So if your count's off is that what happened here?
What I understand is, I don't know what officially happened, but I do know Central had a count, Clovis had a count, and no one got together to talk to the home scorebook. And so Clovis took their little notes for the following day. They also had video. Now, high school, video is not permitted on anything. And if the CIF said, well, I saw the video, they are 100% wrong. Video is not permitted on anything unless a kid got kicked out of the game and you want to bring the video to show that he wasn't the guy in the fight or something. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But Jake, this comes from an umpire. I got a text about 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
He says, this is a fine line to walk. Umpires aren't tracking pitch counts, but are being forced to enforce the rule. That can be manipulated by either team. All around, it's a bad situation. Should have the scorekeepers doing it along with umpires at each game. Leagues need to pay for it, and the school districts need to pay for it if they want to get serious about this. There is no way that the CIF should have forfeited for the Central game. So I think this is a no-brainer that Central needs to fight this, and there's no way they should lose it on a forfeit on this with two pitches.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too. Okay, because Central had 28, Clovis had 32. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So you're talking 2 over or 2 under. If I'm the CIF, I'm saying it is what it is. Nobody, you guys didn't follow protocol, if there is a protocol. And one's 2 over, one's 2 under. How do you make a decision on this team how do you make it a forfeit then? At that point, it's like, you know what? Sorry, guys, maybe lesson learned here. The rules are the rules. You're supposed to do this between innings. We're not going to give a forfeit we're not going to give a win to Clovis, right? Because here's the other thing for Clovis side of it. And so I understand it from CP or from Chris at this perspective is the game before the kid got pulled at 28 but they had 32. They don't know if he's going to pitch the next game. And when they see him, they're under the impression that he was over the day before. The count was just off on somebody just has the count off. And that's Jake, why you're supposed to confirm it. Are we supposed to post it after the game? Like what is the protocol? I've never seen anything from the CIF to every coach. Do they need to make a video? This is how we handle a pitch count situation. This is the protocol for a protest on this. What are you supposed to do? No, well, they make the rules, but they're not policing anything.
Isn't the protest supposed to be after the game on the first game? You can't wait till the following day to say, we're going to protest yesterday.
Yes. So that kid throws whatever pitches they had. The next game they bring him back. The moment he throws a warm-up pitch, he's entered the game, correct?
That's what I understand. Unless he gets, I don't know what the court case is if he got hurt.
Well, the umpire, once the pitcher gets on the mound to throw a warm-up pitch, the umpire is typically going to point him as he's officially been entered into the game as a pitcher or whatever.
But he has to throw a pitch, though.
I get that. So I don't know how. I know in Major League Baseball, that's kind of how it works. That's the moment the switch is taking place. That's when it should have been addressed. It shouldn't. The game should have never. The game shouldn't have been completed, and then the following day brought to everybody's attention. It should have happened the moment that Clovis felt like there was an issue. The instant.
I don't understand why nobody looked at the home scorebook on April 6th. It just kills me to think that Clovis had something up their sleeve and they didn't want to. Well, we got it on film. We got a score tracker. We got this.
And
we got 32.
I mean, I haven't talked to Mitch yet. Listen, I like both guys a lot. CP's I've known a long time, and Mitch I've known a long time. I don't think I'm not going to get into character debates or mistakes happen. These guys are not focused on that stuff in the moment. Chris is not thinking about pitch count, Molly. These guys are trying to win games. They're trying to play chess and be a step ahead of each other. And they're competing. So, but somewhere a mistake was made. It's not the first time, and it's probably not going to be the last time. But like you said, I agree. Over 2 pitches, it's the CIF should have just pushed back and said, you know what? We're not going to do anything on this. It didn't happen in the moment. And 2, one's 2 over, one's 2 under. It's 2 pitches. Sorry, but
it's unbelievable.
Game over.
The world we live in.
Right. Game over. Whoever won that game won the game, and move on.
It's a lesson learned. Guys, that's what I would do from the CIF. Please check with the home scorebook. That's the Bible. Between innings, talk with each other, your scorebook and our scorebook. Figure it out between innings. That's what I would do. When the coaches are meeting at home plate, I think the umpires have to start saying, guys, check the scorebook. It's between you guys. We're not going to get involved.
No.
You guys figure it out and figure it out between innings.
No, and I agree with that. The umpires have plenty on their plate as well. They've got their own stuff to deal with within a game. I don't think it's on the umpires. It should be on the coach or one of the coaches. I mean, and we use Game Changer in the dugout, so it's in the dugout. I mean, you can get it fairly quickly and easy, and it's not a long process to confirm pitch count. You brought up another good point too, though. With the win, how does that if this holds up and Clovis gets that win? What does it do to rankings? Does it keep them in division? They could be a top 8 team.
Right now, I have the number 8 ranked in Division 1, and if it ended tomorrow, you know who they're playing. Why would Clovis want to be the 8th ranked team in Division 1 where they have 0 chance of winning Division 1? They have a great chance of winning Division 2. I don't understand. So I get it. Hey, they think they have something, and now the Central versus Clovis is going to be a rival now, because if I'm Coach Mulligan, it is us against the world. They took it away from us. They robbed us, boys. Let's go out. Let's get fired up now and get this thing going. To me, this is a nothing burger.
And yeah, I agree.
I'm going to blame CRF on this, because they should have said, the first question, guys, did you check the home scorebook? No. What are you doing? Why didn't you check the home? End of story. Done deal.
Yeah, well, again, did it happen immediately? When you noticed the kid got brought back out after your book said he was over and didn't have enough days rest, did you raise the concern then? And if the answer is no, then we're done.
The answer is no.
Then we're done.
The answer is no. Even 48 hours, no one checked at the home scorebook.
Yeah, then the answer is no. And I would love to know the CIFs. I want to know have you talked to anybody on why they voted for it to be a forfeit?
Because they said they saw it on film in the Game Changer. That's where they went with. So they use film in their little, the investigation, I guess you could say. But again, you can't use video in anything. It's fun to have, but you can't use that in a court of law in high school unless there's a fight or something and somebody got kicked out of the game. And you want to show the CIF, it wasn't number 52, it was number 48.
Well, and did Mitch get to see the video? Let's be transparent.
He didn't even know until the next day.
But be transparent about it. Let Mitch let Central's athletic director see the video.
I learned about it when I put it on Twitter. That's when Coach Morgan said, "What's going on? What do you mean you lost the puck?" He had no idea.
So he had no idea there was a protest.
He had no idea that he lost. That not only protest, he lost the protest. He didn't even know. They thought they won the game. Now,
so they should. Yeah, I just don't. The whole process is insane to me. So I don't have. They just show up and here's a loss. I don't get a chance to defend myself or show my book. And if Clovis High has video, why am I not allowed to see that video?
And if they do, again, videos can be altered just like scorebooks can. So again, it's 2 pitches we're talking about. It's not 22 pitches or 52 pitches. It's 2 pitches. This is the most amazing. And I said it on my Twitter. The O.J. Simpson investigation was better than this.
I mean, oh yeah, absolutely. That's a no-brainer. I think it's, but I also think it's worth the time and talk being put into it, because last year, again, with Bullard and Memorial, you're talking about a league championship that was going to be, could potentially been in question or affected, which would have affected playoff seedings. And these kids work really hard and they put in the time to one, get the best seed possible, to get these home games in the playoffs, to try to win a section championship. Like it is important. This stuff should be handled the right way. What that way is, I don't know. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be or look like. And I think that's, again, on the CIF. It's not, the coaches should do it. I get that. But what, even if you're wrong, because sometimes you're probably going to have a different number. How do we handle this? What do we do? Is it home book? You said the home book's the Bible. So, I go back to that Bullard game. And like you said, Bullard's book was the home book. So we're just going on that. That's it.
If I'm Ryan Toth, the CIF commissioner, I'm putting out a letter to every athletic director. We had a discrepancy. We had a problem at the Central Clovis game. This is going to be a wake-up call for all you coaches from now on. Each inning, each half inning, you are comparing books. You're doing whatever you got to do to clarify it. That's it. End of story. You don't take a loss away to Central. You don't make them lose a game because of 2 pitches and because they did not do their homework. Sorry, Clovis. I love you guys to death. But compare the book after the game. You never checked the home scorebook.
No.
And you waited for the following day to protest. And I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, no, that's got to happen then and there. I mean, again, once that kid got brought back out a day or 2 days or whatever it was, that's when it should have been questioned.
Game's over, right?
Yeah, game's over.
Final over.
And again, if I'm the CIF and I asked, well, did you confirm pitch counts that day? No. And when the kid got in the game that you had over, did you say anything? And if the answer is no, case closed. We're moving on. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter what team it is. It has nothing to do with it being Clovis or Central. But I think the bigger point is that this needs to be figured out how it's handled and what do they need to do to keep the pitch count thing under control. It's 2 pitches. It's kind of crazy.
And this is going to happen when you play back-to-back games sometimes.
Yeah, that's another. That might be a whole other topic. Why they're playing 3 games in the track is absurd. But whatever. I don't know who brought that on. I wouldn't want to be doing that. But I think the CMAC tried to make that happen, or they did the first week or first 5 games of league. I don't know. We did it last year and it was rough.
Yeah, I think they did it because of COVID.
Yeah, and I understood. I understood that. I mean, I get it. It was just, with kids playing other sports and all that, it was pretty challenging. But, well, and then listen, if you didn't hear Nick's scoop It's going to be on his show with Matty J, and I'm sure they'll get into it much, much harder. So, but Nick, I appreciate you coming on, giving me the lowdown, and as always, I appreciate the PAG meter and all the work that you do.
Jake, keep up the great work. And again, I have nothing. I love Clovis, the Cougars, Chris Patrick. I love Coach Mulligan at Central. I'm just questioning the CIF and how they did this. That's all I'm questioning.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees with that. I'm with you too, and I'm sure most of those guys agree the same thing. I don't blame Coach for trying to get a dub, or and again, maybe he did notice it in the moment. I don't know. I haven't talked to CP, but again, both good friends of mine, both outstanding baseball coaches, and hopefully it's nothing. Listen, obviously it's going to be a little bad blood, but hopefully going forward, these can be handled a certain way within, all the teams and how the CIF wants this to be handled. So.
Yep. And again, this is what you and I do. No one else is going to touch stories like this. So this is why we do what we do. And we got to bring up topics like this. So if we can help other schools now, maybe it'll be a wake up call.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. We both have listeners outside the area. So again, I'd love to hear even stories for, we get a lot of people in Sacramento listen. So it'd be cool to hear, some of the stuff that goes on in different sections.
Yeah. And just make sure people, Jake, know umpires cannot do it all.
No.
Unless you want to pay another umpire to sit there and just count pitches. You might do that, but right now there's no way they can handle that.
No, I agree. But something needs to be discussed, and I'm raising awareness about it. It's a good topic, and we'll just have to see what happens.
All right, Jake.
Nick,
keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. I'll see you.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So no, I listen. I thank you, Nick. Appreciate Nick coming on and talking. Yeah, it's a weird deal. My honest, again, thinking about it more. We're up in arms about the pitch count. And you think about travel ball, and as far as I don't know if they keep track of pitch counts. So these kids could throw during the week, and I know they're not playing in. I don't know if that's even a rule anymore. They can play in season or not. Last year they could play travel ball while playing school ball, but you've got the transfer stuff. I know I've made an issue with the bat stuff, but yeah, we're like pitch counts. We're losing our shit over pitch count, and there's other issues that I think need to be addressed or could be addressed, and it's just simply not being. I don't know. I could be wrong on this. I don't know what everybody thinks about the pitch count thing. Like I said with Nick, I feel like in any team, in any circumstance, if you felt like the pitch count was off, they bring a kid back. In that moment, address it. Ask the coach, hey, listen, Mitch, we got 32 on our book from the other day with this guy, and you got 28. If do they protest then and say, hey, game's under protest? Does the kid continue to pitch? I don't know how that works. But just do it in the moment. I think that's, you can't wait a day or two. And if there's video evidence, then I feel like then both sides need to see it. If you don't want people to second guess or question, then show Central the video, right? That's where conspiracies are going to generate. Like if Central or if Clovis and the CIF are the only ones that have seen the video, and that's where the CIF ruled off the video, then I would think that the AD at Central and Mitch, and they should be able to see it. There shouldn't be any problems showing them, hey man, this is what we got. This is the reason we made our decision to call this game a forfeit. Then at least they can say, you know what? That's true. There it is. We were wrong. We missed it somewhere. It's not deliberate if they did. But I think if that's how the CIF ruled, then I think that's where Central should have a right to see what proof was presented. I don't know. It's whatever. Again, we're talking about pitch count. And again, either way, it's whatever. It's kind of funny that, again, we're up in arms on it, but yet some of the other things going on around the Valley or the area, and not even the Valley, all over the country, all over the state. Again, we have listeners everywhere just to kind of see how this stuff plays out in other places. But I know here it's been kind of interesting just to see all the little things going on and happening in our area. And honestly, it's just kind of crazy to me. But earlier I was talking about, you know, baseball being underway. The MLB's going there a couple weeks in. The college season's roughly halfway through. And like, I just felt like in a twilight zone. And I feel like, you know, talking to Pappy, he's like, dude, you're a grumpy old man now. And maybe he's right. I feel like I'm just complaining all the time about this stuff. And whatever, you can take your shots at me. I am the old man that's turned into the way it used to be. I don't want to be that guy. I want to adapt a little bit to some of this stuff, but it just feels like we had the COVID stuff happen, right? So so stay with me. We had the COVID stuff happen. We had a shortened year. They cancel high school baseball. MLB does what they did during the COVID year. We come back, we play a bunch of games, and like just in the recent weeks, like again, I feel like it's just a complete twilight zone. Some of this stuff's got me shaking my head. You know, I saw a game, it was a college game, batter gets hit, ball looked inside, game's called. He's ruled out. The game ended on that play because apparently the hitter didn't make an attempt to get out of the way, or he had leaned into it, or whatever the case, the umpire thought. And yet that's really not what happened. I think it was LMU. And I'm just like, well, we can't replay. I don't know. With all the stuff going on, like that's how a game's going to end. I mean, the umpire was real quick to make a decision. We can't bring other umpires in and discuss this. We're just going to walk off the field and declare it a loss or game over. You know, you've got the big league umpires being mic'd up doing, you know, the reviews over the mic like they're an NFL referee. I saw multiple hitters being called out in college baseball for taking too long to get in the box. And this one really irritates me because I guess I should look up and see what the time is supposed to be, because I don't know. I don't know how many seconds you have after the pitch. But if you get a borderline strike call or something that goes against you, or a bad call, like as a hitter, I've been in that box before. I've been frustrated. It's been irritating, and I get pissed off, and you need a second to regroup. And I think Marcus brought this up on the last episode of just calming yourself down, taking a deep breath, getting your mode back into, all right, let's go win the next pitch. But no, now you got an umpire running down the third baseline to call you out to end the inning, you know, with runners on base, or, you know, in a situation where you could have tied the game or taken a lead, or regardless of it, just being a rule is irritating. Again, for pace of play, I don't like that one. The getting back into the box, and I've seen it a couple different times. I'm not behind the movement. We've said it 100 times. I'm not behind the movement of speeding up the game. The pitch clocks, the rules with the stepping out of the box, like I just mentioned, the mound visit limitations in the big leagues, you know, or how many batters are faced with a reliever. I understand it gets irritating. It definitely slows the game down. But I was listening or watching MLB Tonight the other day, and Jim Leland was on there, and he brought up a really good point too that nobody talks about is, you know, the other contributor to long games is look how many pitches are being thrown in a game. They're not as efficient. You know, there's a lot of balls or a lot of pitches being thrown throughout a game. I'm not behind the movement. You know, the other one was that really threw me off was Kenley Jansen, right? Kenley Jansen, closer for the Braves, gets called to come into the game from the bullpen. Obviously, he's going into the ninth, gets out to the mound, and home plate umpire Bill Miller, before he throws a single pitch in the game, he's got 3 warm-up pitches in, and he's arguing with the umpire. And Bill Miller stops Jansen's warm-up because the allotted time between innings was over. And that was it. And so he got 3 warm-up pitches. And I was reading into it a little more, and I'm like, well, did he, you know, was he really slow getting to the mound? You know, I know it's a trek from the bullpen. So as he gets called out of the bullpen to come in, he got checked for substance. His glove, they checked him for any substances. So he's makes his trip from the bullpen. He gets checked by the umpires, and then he goes to start his routine, his process to closing out a game. And the umpires, after 3 pitches, say, hey, the time's up. And that's bullshit, right? Really, these guys have routines and how the things that they do. His job is to close out games. And I'm sorry, it's the 9th inning. I'm not in if I'm in the stands watching the game in the 9th inning, I think it's pretty safe to say I don't care about the time of the game. I'm not worried about pace of play. I'm here in the 9th to watch this team close it out. I'm not concerned about it. And I think most people, and I've said it again, aren't concerned about it. And here it is, the grumpy old man. It's what it feels like. And I'm sorry. I am. I'm truly sorry that I sound like an old man. I'm complaining about the game, but it's frustrating. It's as much as I want to watch, some of it's hard to watch. To see the comments made with Luke Voit and his slide at the plate against the Reds, and Tommy Pham wanting to come out and fight the guy. And I'm just like, what? He's a big dude, 1. And 2, his line that he typically run to make a slide or an attempt to slide it home was now taken by the catcher, and he adjusts on the fly to make a slide into the plate. With the hands thing, I don't know. I don't know what that was, but dirty? I not think it was dirty at all. He could have blown his ass up. I mean, numerous guys have been blown up. You want dirty? And I know Dodger fans are going to get all mad at me here, but like Chase Utley, that slide was dirty. Who was that? Was that the Mets? I forget who that was against. I want to say it was the Mets or the Phillies. I forget. But go look at that slide. You go back 20, 30 years, you'll see a lot of guys getting roughed up. Like Voit could have just demolished him, and he's within his right to blow him up. So I don't have a problem with it. I didn't think it was dirty. And I'm glad. I appreciate the feedback on Twitter last night with a lot of the people, making comments and stuff. I love that. And most people seemed in agreement. I think I saw 1 or 2 that were kind of like, it was kind of shitty. But I didn't feel so in any way. But again, just things that I'm seeing, it's just kind of crazy. The other one was Kershaw. Kershaw getting pulled with a perfect game. Pitch counts low, 7th inning. The guy's a vet. He's been there. It's a perfect game. Look at all the innings that have been played, all the games and pitches that have been thrown. I think there's 23 perfect games, something around there. The guy's got a chance to be in a historic category with very few pitchers to add on to his legacy. And I know that the reports came out that, they were all on the same page with bringing him out. But if it's me, 1, it's how you feel, bro. Your pitch count's good. You look good. How do you feel? I feel good. All right, well, we're going to ride you until, first guy reaches. Cool, let's go. And I get not wanting to talk about a no-hitter in the dugout or a perfect. If you can pull the guy, you can fucking talk about it within the inning, in between innings. See how he's feeling. Now, I don't pull him. And I don't want to come out of that game, right? I've worked hard to get to perfect for 7. Like, let me finish the job. Let me go get it done. I didn't like that. And then, and this is we're 2 weeks in. We're 2 weeks in. Again, old Grandpa Jake here complaining about all of it. The one that I didn't, once I followed up on, I was like, I guess I can roll with it. You've got your reason. I didn't like the Dodgers' reason for pulling Kershaw, but I can, whatever. I can roll with it. Joe Madden walks Corey Seager with the bases loaded. And I'm like, what? What are we doing here? You're down a run. You're going to make it 4-2. Seeing Trout's face in the video was Oh, it was hilarious. And I was like, man, I don't understand what's the thought process here. And so when I went and finally listened to his post game about it, I kind of was like, okay, like, I don't know if I agree with it, but one, you had an idea. I'm not going to say it worked or did it work. They responded for sure. And it's just, I love Joe Madden. I think he's a great manager and he's done well everywhere he's been. Hopefully this team can stay healthy. I think the Angels, obviously offensively, could be fantastic with their lineup, but with the pitching, it's just a matter of staying healthy, as is for any team, honestly. But that's the one thing that always plagues them is not having their guys on the field and then not deep enough in the bullpen to compete. Where I think they've kind of addressed a lot of needs. I don't know how well it's going to go for them, but I wouldn't count them out of the AL West. But his post game regarding the walk, I thought was interesting. If you hadn't heard it, I just wanted to play it. It's a little over a minute here, and I want to let it play so you can hear everything about it. But yeah, this was Joe Madden's response when asked about walking Seager with the bases loaded.
Obviously, the bases loaded pass to Seager was the thought process there. You get the ground ball, limit the damage.
Yeah, I mean, just the guy's good. And, Warren, I liked. The big thing was the walking of Simeon. When that happened, it made it really more difficult. But I thought by walking Seager there, of course, just trying to stay out of a big blow. And also just to stir the group up, quite frankly. That's something you don't normally do. And I thought, just by going out there and doing something like that, the team might respond. And simple as that. Seager's that good. So I know it was early in the game, but I thought it could have changed the momentum of the game. The box would really hurt. The box made it a 2-run moment as opposed to a 1-run moment, which I was perfect or happy with. But nevertheless, I thought it was the right thing to do in that moment for us.
Obviously, the analytics would probably say not do that. Do you take that into account? I mean, do you look back at this and think about, hey, that's probably not what,
No, no, not at all. Numbers are one thing. Human beings are something completely different. And for me, the human element right there required what we did. That's it. It had nothing to do with math. It was just the right thing to do in the moment to minimize their damage possibly, and also possibly to pump us up a bit. So there's a couple different things going on there.
And I honestly don't. I like the answer. He knows his team, right? He's challenging his team while also agreeing that you kind of limit the damage there or potential damage. You don't expect to see that. So again, I listen, I apologize again for coming off as the old man complaining about everything, but there's parts of the game that are just becoming hard to watch. It's frustrating to watch, and then you see, the one this week with the kid out of Texas and the JUCO kid that just blew up the pitch, or the pitcher blew up the runner, gets a bomb hit off of him. What I read was that the runner or the hitter said something he probably shouldn't have said to the pitcher, and the pitcher lost his shit. You can't lose control like that. I get being emotional, and I get frustrated, and it took the lead. It was a moment in the game where it shifted momentum and all that, but you can't lose control. If this game is what you're trying to do, you're trying to play as long as you can play. That sure as hell is not going to get you where you want to go. Get back up on there and move on and get to the next guy. I mean, it's no different than striking out. Get to the next plate appearance or go be a good teammate, and root the next guy. You can't do that stuff. Now he's potentially facing expulsion from the school and jeopardize his season. I think he was a sophomore. Now you got some explaining to do to whatever situation or team or wherever you end up next. I don't think it's going to define him. I hope it doesn't. People make mistakes all the time. But I'm not against giving kids second chances. It said this was kind of the first time the pitcher or that kid's ever been in moments like that and had an issue or an altercation like that happen. And you don't see that stuff on the baseball field very often. But having said that, and I said this on Twitter, it's a pretty clean hit. I think, decleated the guy. But again, I don't, it shouldn't define his career. And again, the second chances are good in my book. Hopefully it, one of lessons learned from it, but we will see. But I appreciate everybody again. I appreciate all the supporters we have. If you're not, I've been involved in some other podcasts. Watch Your Lips podcast is another side project I've been doing. It's a lot of fun. A little more different sports. We talk fantasy sports, fantasy football, baseball. We talk a little politics from here time to time, and get into some stories that are out in the news. And so if you haven't, please, I appreciate it if you go check out Watch Your Lips podcast. It's also on Twitter and Instagram at @Watcher_Lips. And again, I thank everybody for staying with us. I got more stuff coming. And hopefully Chad will be back in the next couple of weeks as their season wraps up at City. Again, he's going to be he's a new daddy. So he'll be it might be a few more weeks before we see him. But again, I thank everybody for their support. I appreciate just the interaction on all our social media and everybody staying involved with what we're doing. Again, that is the Hit or Die podcast.